Hello, my name is Branden Bryce. Welcome to the Veggie Gardener. Today I want to talk about composts. The next few videos I'm going to talk about soil amendments in general, specifically for nutrient reasons, but today is composts. I want to do this so that I give you a chance to go to the store and get your own soil amendments if necessary. If you find this information useful or informative, please like, share, and subscribe. Mostly share. I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, as fast as I can. So there's several different types of compost that you can get. One is bagged. This is what a bag, the size is. I got this over it just so I don't know how me promoting products works, so I don't want to, tread those waters quite yet. So we can get bags, and that's what I would recommend for the most part for small backyard gardens. We can also get bulk. Those are better for if you have a very large area but you don't have the means to make compost yourself. And then we also have homemade compost. We won't be getting into homemade compost quite yet. I will show you how to make homemade compost. I will go through all of that stuff, but that'll be later once we get through the essentials and really once we get past this planting, this early planting. Okay, so general thoughts on compost. Whenever you buy compost, the big thing to avoid is biosolids. Biosolids are human waste. They're human waste that should be going through the compost process, and there are rules and regulations that guide those compost processes, such as they should be reaching a certain temperature for a certain amount of days so that they kill all known human-borne bacteria, but just to be on the safe side and for sanitary reasons, safety reasons, avoid biosolids when using them in your veggie garden. If you're going to use them on your lawn, go for it, but your veggie garden, I would avoid them. Plus, the other reason for avoiding biosolids is not necessarily just for the bacteria reasons, but we put a lot of weird stuff through our systems and you don't really know what's coming out, you don't know what's residual, you don't know how the plants will react, you don't know what they're going to uptake, and you don't know what will be passed on to you. So just, again, avoid biosolids. Most garden centers are not going to sell bags that have biosolids, but it's a good thing to just double check. I'll put a picture up here somewhere, but if you're looking for organic specifically, there is a label, MRI. I've seen it mostly with an O in front of it, so OMRI. I don't honestly know what the acronym means, but just look for that label if you're looking for organic. To be completely honest, I don't know what organic for compost mean because compost is, in my definition at least, for what I've seen everywhere, is organic matter that decomposed. So that's kind of funny. All right, another big idea, and this goes for all of the composts here, is residual herbicides. Herbicide, when it was first created, it didn't last very long. And a lot of people actually complained because it didn't last very long, it wasn't very effective. So then they started making stronger herbicide that lasted longer. Now we have herbicide that can last 3-5 years, maybe even more. I don't want to give too many solid numbers because I don't know what lifespan it has. But when herbicide is used on plants and the plants uptake it, it doesn't kill the plants. But then we put those plants into, such as a broadleaf herbicide on grass or something, let's say. And you put that grass clipping into your compost, or when they make compost, they put it into their compost. Residual herbicide can be passed along. We'll get into a lot of that also later. I'm trying to just cover the basics. There's a lot that I want to say, but I'm trying to keep it simple. So just understand that there might be some residual herbicide. I don't think it's cause to panic or get worried or anything. The plants you're going to see it on the most though are the legumes. So if the leaves look kind of weird, that's residual herbicide. And maybe that's then a sign that you might want to just avoid that brand, or I would say it's mostly in the bulk herbicide, but we'll get into that. And then my last general thoughts on compost in general are, personally, I would like a larger ingredient list, because whenever you have a larger ingredient list, well, in general at least, you're more likely to cover all the nutrient needs of the plant, more likely to cover all the nutrient bases. All right, let's get into the different composts. So first we'll talk about bags. And the pros on bags is they have a label, they have your ingredients labeled right there, so you know all the ingredients. When they create these composts, they also have more control over what goes into these composts. The bad part about these type of composts is they're expensive. This bag, I think, if I remember right, was like somewhere between $7 and $10. So that's kind of a lot for really not a lot of compost. So that's the downside. For bulk compost, the pros of it is it's cheap. You can get a truckload of compost for under $100. I think last time I got a truckload of compost with somebody, it was around $70 for a truckload. It is effective. So I don't want to like push people away from bulk compost. It's a really good source if you have a large area to cover. The downsides are the ingredients are kind of unknown. How these companies work is usually they take the kitchen scraps from private homes. They might even take lawn debris from lawn care companies, and then they throw that all into a pile and they compost that. The problem with that is you don't really know what the lawn debris, like what chemicals were on the lawn debris. You don't really know what's going into the kitchen scraps. They might be throwing more weird other stuff instead of kitchen scraps. It's kind of just like when a bunch of people throw recycles away and they're all sorting them out. Some people don't, All right. So the cons of bulk compost are the ingredients. They're kind of unknown. And so you're going to just have to weigh all of that. We're going to move on to homemade compost, even though we can't really do that quite yet. You certainly don't have enough time to make compost. So out of the two, again, weigh the pros and cons for yourself. How big is your garden? How much money can you spend? So, all right, homemade compost. So the pros of homemade compost, well, of course, you know the ingredients. You have a lot of control over what goes into your compost. It is cheap, and you can make a lot. The cons are it does take a lot of labor. You got to stir it, you got to watch it. You don't have to do that all that often if you're doing just a normal backyard compost system. And then sourcing the materials. I mean, you have your lawn debris, but I wouldn't use sticks or twigs. So for lawn debris, you got leaves. And then for the rest, you really have your lawn clippings, green grass clippings. So sourcing materials might be hard for a homemade compost system, especially if you're just living in the suburbs. Oh yeah, right, sources. Let's check out the sources. Well, part of my sources is just conversations with people, and I can't really show you that. But I want to show you this book, and it's a pretty good book. It does go quite in depth, so if you don't want like crazy in depth, it might not be the best book, but it covers everything. And he gives you a number of ideas on how to make compost, creative ideas. So I would recommend that book. It's a pretty good book. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.